Hello, and welcome back to episode 3.
Yep.
THREE. 3 of the Married with Media podcast.
Did you just spell 3?
I did.
Wow.
I did. So there is no confusion. So episode 3. You will have to forgive my co-host here. He is sick again.
What do you mean again? I was sick, like 3 or 4 months ago?
It's honestly ridiculous, guys.
No, this was like September that I got sick.
Ken is not allowed to get sick. It's bad enough that we have children who get sick all the time, or I guess our daughter specifically, because she's still in elementary school and, they're very germy. But, so you'll have to forgive him if he sounds nasally. There could be some coughing fits. You may have to you might not even be able to listen to this. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
I got a cough drop in. I'm hoping I'll be okay.
Yeah. So try not to smack it around. But, we're only, like I said, 3 episodes in to our podcast. So I really didn't want to miss it already.
Yeah. Michelle drugged me out of my deathbed.
So we are here.
You got to film this podcast. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So in today's episode, we are going to be talking about theaters again. And I say again because I feel like if you've been around for a while, you kind of know we have like a love-hate relationship, maybe more of a hate relationship with theaters. I feel like we kind of complain about them a lot. We did a whole video about this several months ago. I'll make sure to link it in the bio if you missed it. But we kind of talked about why we were done with theaters because of several different factors.
Yeah.
And so in today's episode, we're going to talk about some news that kind of pertains to the theater experience. We've got the AMC price increase, the membership that they offer. And then there is a lawmaker in Connecticut who thinks that there should be, a time listed, I guess, on the theater website or wherever you order your tickets from, that says what time the movie actually starts.
Yeah.
Not, trailers and commercials, but what time the movie actually freaking starts. And then we're going to kind of go off of that and just talk about kind of trailers in general. And so that's kind of going to be the topics for today's episode.
Sounds good.
Are you ready for it? And I might be talking a little bit more just because, again, Ken is sick, but he might throw in some yells.
Yeah.
And some exactlies and, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well,
because he agrees with everything that I say.
Just kind of piggybacking off what you said with the theaters. We've been twice this year.
Yeah.
I feel like both the times we went were okay experiences. The Wolfman wasn't a great movie, and to me, like the screen wasn't exactly the best lit. I felt like, and then Companion, like there was people like talking, so like there was negatives about both experiences, but
yeah,
I don't know. I still like going to the theaters, but it's just something that it's like I don't know. It's when you're there, it's like, was this even worth the trouble?
Right.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so let's get into the AMC membership. AMC is one of the, bigger theater chains or whatever. Unfortunately, we have, I think, one AMC around us, and it's not great. They actually don't even have, or at least the last time we went, they don't even have like recliners in the theater.
Yeah, I feel like maybe some of them do now.
Okay.
I saw Oppenheimer there, and I know in the IMAX theater they do not. They were just like regular theater seats.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like if they're going to have them, they're going to be in the IMAX one.
But I feel like because we saw Avengers Endgame there.
Yeah.
Me, Liam, and my sister back in 2019. I feel like those are reclining seats.
I don't think so.
If I remember correctly. Maybe they weren't, but that's just what I remember.
Yeah. I remember seeing something there, and it was just the regular, old school theater chair. And I'm like, no. Immediately,
Do you remember the last movie you saw there?
If I thought about it for a while, maybe I could figure it out, but yeah, I don't.
Yeah. We don't go there too often. Yeah, it is the only AMC in our area. We have mostly Cinemark. I think we have like 4 different Cinemarks.
Yes, we've been going to a Cinemark lately. Okay, so if AMC though is your theater of choice, they do have their monthly membership, which I was not familiar with all of the I wasn't familiar with the detail of what this membership included, so I am going to be reading it from an article. So the thing is that they're increasing the membership by $3. So
What was it and what will it
yeah,
be?
so we're going to get into what it was. So beginning May 7th, so like right before we get into all the big summer blockbusters that are coming out. Blockbusters, is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
You
going
can
to
call
be the membership is going to be $27.99 a month. Let's see. Okay, so it depends on where you live. Okay, $27.99 a month in all AMC theaters nationwide, or $25.99 a month in every location other than New York and California. I feel like New York and California are like always on their own for some stuff. I don't know, like what it is. Is it about like taxes or something? Like what is it?
I don't know. I think just prices are higher in general in those areas.
I guess.
For whatever reason.
So yeah, starting May 7th, unless you live in New York and California, it's going to be $27.99 a month. So,
I'm pretty sure like the standard ticket price in California is like $20.
Yeah, probably
something crazy like that for like the AMCs and stuff like that.
So yeah, like I said, that is about a $3 increase from what it was. So you can do the math for what it currently is or whatever.
Which that sounds like a negative, but
yeah. So with the price increase, though, they are going to add in one additional weekly movie. So let's see. You were able to see 3 movies a week. Now you're going to be able to see 4.
And did we find out if that meant you have to see 4 movies a week, or you can bring somebody and that counts as one of your tickets?
So I'm thinking.
Is it 4 tickets a week?
I'm based on here in a second. I didn't like completely clarify that, but so it says AMC has lowered its age requirement for A-list, noting that moviegoers ages 13 and up can now subscribe to A-list. So if you're saying that 13-year-olds can subscribe to it, I'm thinking that you can't share tickets.
Okay, maybe.
I don't know. That's kind of what I'm getting.
Which, that sounds good. But then I think you brought this up. It's like, is there 4 movies that come out a week that you would want to see?
Well, this
even
article,
if you're the most like avid moviegoer.
Right. So
really it's just a price increase, because like you're never going to utilize that. Most people aren't anyway.
Right. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Like you have to just kind of, I feel like, think about it as a whole, like the cost that you're paying per month, not necessarily, I get to see 4 movies a week if I want to.
Yeah.
I would say that that's not going to really be a selling point to most people, because this article kind of talks about it too. Seeing 4 movies a week is going to be a bit of a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah. Now some people, like I'm thinking, if I'm like 16 or 17 and I have this thing and I have access to the movie theater, like back in the day, I would have went and saw a movie like twice, like maybe 3 times, if I had access to something like this.
Yeah, I mean, let's say you have the ideal person, someone who lives close to the theater and who loves movies, and
like if you're younger, you don't have kids, responsibilities, that kind of stuff, you can go to the movies a lot more.
Yeah. And nowadays they're doing the whole like re-releasing older movies, and so there might be more I guess there might be a variety of movies that you could go see using that or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But I think for most people, they weren't utilizing. They're pretty much like, to have a subscription, a membership like this, they are counting on you to not utilize this, because if everybody utilized it to the full potential, then they wouldn't make any money, like, at all. Like, they would be
right,
losing tons of money, which is why, like, Movie Pass failed back in the day, because it was only like $10 for that.
right.
But that came in
It's
pretty much
kind of
disrupted the whole system.
they're, as with everything, everything's raising in price, and so they're kind of trying to make it
They're trying to
look
soften the
like,
blow,
yeah,
but nobody's gonna
but
use
kind of
that because they
knowing
weren't
that,
using it before, so they're
right,
not going to use it now. So they're pretty much just raising the cost.
right. So you kind of just have to, this article doesn't mention anything about any other benefits that you get with the membership. I don't know
Yeah.
if you get like a percentage off of concessions or not. I would think that you would, but I know when you sign up for the Cinemark membership, you do. But I know the Cinemark plan that we had at one time, I think we got one movie ticket a month for free, and then 20% off of concessions. Yeah. So anyway, you kind of just have to think, okay, for $27.99 a month, and if a ticket is, I don't know, $15.
Yeah, I would say that's about the average price.
Like, am I at least going to see what, three
Three.
movies, four movies to make it worth it?
Yeah.
Well, you kind of want it. You kind of want to come out a little bit ahead for the membership to be worth it, right?
3 movies a month will put you ahead.
Okay.
If they're 13, 15, also depending on what time you see them, like if you're seeing a matinee, like what is that, like $10, $11 or
Yeah.
something? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah. But it's always interesting when you're trying, like, if you really want to get into the nitty gritty with it, like, as with a lot of memberships, you might have a few months where you really benefited from it, but then you might have a few months where you didn't even go at all and you paid for it for nothing.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of like these businesses, that's always kind of the selling, or their, like, what benefits them is, oh, like, we got them in this contract or whatever, they're going to pay, and they might not have even gone that month.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, they're counting on you to only use it once or twice a month.
Right.
Yeah. And some months not even go at all.
It's
and then forget that you're paying for it.
Right. So yeah. Anyway, there's that. Like I said, we don't go to AMC, so this isn't going to be anything that we sign up for or care about. But I know that a lot of people. I feel like when we used to talk to people on our live streams and stuff, a lot of people wouldn't they bring up the AMC membership thing? So
I mean, if you're like a big film fan, you want to see everything in the theaters, and you're in the theaters all the time. Like, this is a great deal. Like, even if you saw like the 12 movies in the theaters, like that would be like $150 value that you're getting for $27.99.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, that's an insane deal.
Yeah. I feel like you're talking a little low.
Sorry, I'm trying.
I want the people to hear you. Okay. So do you have anything you want to add to that?
No.
The AMC thing?
No, I mean, it's I feel like it's just kind of I don't want to say like schemy way to raise the price, but I do feel like it's just a way for them to raise the price and not get like a ton of bad publicity for it.
Yep.
Because again, people are not going to use that 16 times in a month. Like, most people aren't. There's going to be a few that do.
Right.
But most people aren't.
Now, kind of
pretty much just a price raise.
Without backtracking, though, like we were talking about this, if they did allow you, though, to use your 4 times for other people, then it would totally be worth it.
Oh yeah.
Like, if we could use, because there's 4 of us in our family, so if we could all go see a movie once a week as a family, and that would be covered because 4 of us and 4 tickets a week, like, yeah, that'd be cool.
And I wonder how they track that. I guess like you can't use it on the same like movie, same showtime maybe.
Right.
because then they would know that you're bringing people. But
Right.
like you could go see a movie, and then you could come out and then give it to your buddy, and then they can go in and see a movie. Like how do they track it? Is it like
Right.
based? Do you have to show ID or like your
Yeah.
credit card information or something like that?
I doubt it, but
Like you could give it to like 4 members of your family,
yeah.
over the week for
Yeah,
everybody to get to go
so
see a movie. You wouldn't get to go see it together, but
yeah. So let us know if you guys know about the whole, could you take yourself and 3 others to go see one movie that week and it would be covered.
yeah.
Okay, so moving into our next topic that still pertains to the theater. So there is a Connecticut lawmaker. I think he's let's see. I think he was like a senator. Yeah, a senator, which obviously I don't know a lot about the branches of government. Is that what you call it? I guess are senators lawmakers? Does that mean the same thing? Or no?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Anyway,
They're part of the legislative branch.
gotcha.
So
I know you. I
they're
feel
making
like you know a lot
laws.
about
They
that
deal with
stuff.
laws.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about that stuff, but
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of read from this article. It's an article I didn't say earlier what the AMC thing was from, but this is from Nerdist
okay.
website. But it says one lawmaker in Connecticut is sick of the trailers and long pre-movie shows. He does not come to the movies for magic. Sorry, Nicole Kidman. I love you and your AMC ad. It's okay. So on January 21st, a state senator proposed a bill that would mandate cinemas to include the actual start time of a film in addition to the usual time that includes the pre-movie trailers. So again, it would be the time as it is currently listed now, commercials, trailers, like that's the time that we see currently, right?
Yeah.
And then also they want you to list when the movie is actually going to come on, right? So like right now, I like to be on time. Okay. So even though I know that the movie is not going to start at the time listed, I still like to get there. And that might just be like my anxiety. Like I just don't,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to be there. I want to make sure that I find my seat. Cause once the lights dim and stuff, it's kind of harder to find your seat. And I don't like to bother people. And
There's no worse feeling than walking in a movie when the opening credits are playing, opening scenes going.
Yeah. It's very annoying. So
I used to have to do that a lot. I don't want to say a lot, but a few times I remember doing it when I was a kid, because if I would go to the theaters with my aunt, she was late everywhere. She took us to the movies a lot. So we would like walk into the movies. Sometimes I remember like 30 minutes.
Oh God, no.
Into the film. I remember seeing Naked Gun 3 that way when I was a kid.
It's like you can't miss the movie.
Yeah.
Like no way. But anyway, I feel like a lot of people have learned that the movie is not going to start at the time that it says, obviously. So you do have people that come in as the trailers are showing and stuff like that. Which at this point I totally get it, which we're going to kind of go off of this and talk about trailers and stuff in general. But I think that this is great.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of movies nowadays are already super long anyway. And then when you add in all the pre stuff, it's even longer, obviously. And so it's just a lot of setting there. And it's like, oh my gosh, like you're seeing commercials and then you're seeing like 10 trailers. And it's like, holy shit, every time I'm always just like, still
and add
somehow
on top of that, every movie's 2.5 hours now.
That's what I said. Movies are already long anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just like, even though it has been happening for a while, I'm still always very just annoyed that there's, oh my God, another trailer. Like, when is this movie gonna start?
Yeah.
So he wants to propose a bill that cinemas would have to tell you that. Let's see.
Yeah, and I think it's all about, being respectful of people's time, especially when they're choosing to come to your establishment. They're giving you their hard-earned dollars, and it's like they want their time respected in return. I mean, time is money.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you cannot get back.
So this article does say that it should be noted, at least on the AMC app, it does tell you to please allow approximately 20 minutes for pre-shows and trailers. So it does kind of, tell you, hey, you're probably going to be waiting about 20 minutes before the movie starts. And I mean, honestly, 20 minutes is a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not like time flies, but like 20 minutes to a already, 2.5 hour movie, So this kind of goes into what you were just saying about respecting people's time. This is the lawmaker, I'm assuming. It says, it seems to be an abuse of people's time. If they want to get there early and watch the promos, they can. But if they just want to see the feature, they ought to be able to get there just in time for that. And the senator, his name, like I said, it's in Connecticut. His name is Martin Looney. He said, he continued to say, I got a couple of calls from constituents. Yes, constituents. I'll get it. That's kind of a hard word. Who said that they went to the theater a few times and the feature did not start for a considerable period of time after the advertised starting time. It does seem to me that people are, in fact, a sort of captive audience watching the advertising before they get to see the feature they came to see. So, it's just all about, getting those, we're always being fed ads and stuff. Let's see.
Well, and it just goes back to, people's time and people like plan their whole nights around these movie times and stuff. Sometimes, especially if you got a babysitter, you got to be back by a certain time.
Yeah.
And you just like, you'll plan like, do I go to dinner first? Do I go after? Like you plan on that stuff based on the actual time. So
yeah,
when it starts like 30 minutes after it said it was supposed to start.
Yeah, and
that can just mess up your whole night, cause you to maybe have to leave early before the movie ends,
Yeah. Well, you can say that you can just assume that there's going to be 20-ish minutes of, previews and stuff, but not every theater is the same. And it's like, if you're wanting to see this movie, you don't want to
you don't want to change.
You don't want to guess, because what if this time they only show a couple of trailers and, the movie's going to start earlier than that. And so anyway, the person that I guess wrote this article kind of seems like they don't agree with it. It says, I understand the frustration, but it is not that deceiving, especially when everyone already knows what going to see a movie at the theater entails. Frankly, it would be more strange to watch a movie without all the adverts, trailers, and pre-shows. It's a package deal and how theaters make money. I know everyone hates ads, but that's what pays businesses to keep them open. If everyone just skipped them, then the advertisers and distributors would have no incentive to pay theaters to run them, which I get it. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, so he's saying by advertising that this movie starts at this time,
people are going
basically
to miss
promoting the skipping of the ads,
right?
Which would make the advertisers be like, "Wait a second,
we don't want to advertise.
Why even bother then?
Right,
paying you all this money to do this,
right?
Which that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation.
So then it's going to ultimately affect the theater.
Yeah. And I mean, I just from my side of things, because well, us too, we have a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel, and I make like a certain amount of money based on the ad revenue. So, looking at it from that side, I am kind of like, well, I mean, ads are just how you keep things running, how you keep the lights on.
Right. So maybe not. Maybe it shouldn't. I mean,
and is it really that big of a deal?
Well, I feel like maybe
really? Aren't there other things that they should be focusing on other than like movie start times?
Possibly. Maybe, instead of saying, what time the movie will actually start, maybe there should be some kind of law about how many, advertisements we actually see. or
Yeah.
maybe not like a law, but just like a nice thing to do. Like, hey, let's not do 50 commercials and 20 trailers. Let's do it, keep it a little bit less. I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of
Do you think people would be okay if they did it like in the middle of the movie?
no.
Because
Although
I've heard that before. I've heard that that's where we're heading.
you've talked about this
Because
before, yeah.
like with theaters not getting the same amount of patronage, people
Mhm.
coming to check out the movies and stuff anymore, they're going to have to do something to keep the doors open, keep the lights on. So they're going to
Right.
start inserting ads like in the middle of the movie
Now
when you're
I
watching,
don't
almost like you're watching a YouTube video, you're watching TV.
now I don't
Which,
know, what do you think about longer movies having like an ad break, or like it's kind of an
well,
ad
there is
break?
one in the theaters now that does, like The Brutalist
Well, I'm
supposedly has an
saying
intermission.
an ad break / intermission.
Yeah. I think it's
But
acceptable for long movies, like 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours.
but whereas like if you show some ads in the middle and use that as like an intermission too, like you, I feel like some people will probably just stay seated, and they'll see those ads or whatever. But some people are gonna get up, go to the bathroom, stretch their legs, maybe refill their concessions. So I feel like that could be a better option as opposed to a bunch of people not coming in the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be about the same,
Yeah, because it kind of sucks. One thing that I don't hear a lot of people talk about is you eat all your concessions and snacks before the movie even starts. That kind of sucks sometimes.
Well, maybe you're just fat.
You know, I'll
Um,
be sitting there and all the popcorn's almost gone because we just sat through like 35 minutes of previews and commercials and drink,
right.
and it's like, well, now what do I got for the movie?
Yeah,
You know.
you definitely have to have some restraint.
So if you sat down, but the best part is when the popcorn's more warm, the butter's more warm, like in the
Yeah.
beginning, like that's the best part. You don't want to wait and let everything get cold.
Yeah.
You don't want to let your ice melt in your drink.
Yeah.
Especially if you got an icy or something like that. So I kind of think it would be a little bit better to start the movie as soon as it's supposed to start.
Yeah.
And then maybe like 45, 50 minutes in, you play some ads.
But
you can still do the previews, like maybe like 3 or 4 previews.
What do you think
But that's all
about?
advertising dollars as well.
Well,
Studios and previews.
Are you done?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Do you think though, are you saying that every movie should have those breaks, even normal length
Well, I mean,
movies?
I think you kind of have to, because if they need them for normal movies anyway, then you'd have to have the
Right.
breaks in the middle.
But my thing is though, is that going to like take you out of the movie to have it like
Probably.
stop and then like I don't know, maybe they could like time it
We
good.
do it all the time at home. Does it take you out?
Well, it's a little different at home.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting, That's why I wanted to talk about it. So
definitely let us know your thoughts out there in the comments section. Would you be open to mid, previews and commercials and that kind of stuff?
You're talking so low.
Sorry. I feel like if I scream though, like I'm gonna get into a coughing fit.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so kind of to go off of that, just to kind of wrap this up. I don't know how long we're about 30 minutes in. Okay, not bad. So I kind of just wanted to talk about trailers a little bit. Because as you said, we have seen 2 movies this year so far. And as we've been saying this whole episode already, is that there are a lot of commercials and trailers, and it feels like it takes a long time for the movie to get going. But aside from all that, trailers themselves, I feel like trailers have like I guess I should probably go back and watch some like old trailers. I don't know, but do you feel like trailers have evolved and changed for the better or the worse? Do you feel like trailers are too long now? Have they always been this length? Do they show too much about the movie? Do they give too much away? I feel like, wasn't it like a thing back in the day, or maybe not even that long ago, where sometimes a trailer would literally be a scene that never even made the movie?
Oh, it happened all the time. I mean,
Right.
they did it as recently as Avengers, like Infinity War. Like there was a scene they showed in the trailer with the Hulk running with everybody.
Yeah.
And that's not in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like, without getting too scattered, but it's like, is showing a clip that's not actually in the movie, though, is that like deceiving? Because someone might like really look forward to that scene and then it not even be in there, because that has happened.
I remember
before.
all the time when I was a kid it happened. I don't have like specific examples, but I remember
Yeah.
seeing several movies where I was like, where was that scene in the trailer? And
Right.
I'd always be super disappointed.
And I do feel like, now that I think about it, I think that was because they didn't want to give away the movie. And
It
I
could
feel
be
like
that,
now,
or like they put the trailer out before they did their final edits, and maybe they cut out some stuff they put in the early trailer.
I don't know though, because I feel like that doesn't really happen anymore. So I feel like it does have to do with how the people who market the movie, I feel like it has to do with them changing how they do it. I know we agree on this. I feel like trailers are way too long, and it's like they walk you through the whole movie.
Yeah, I think
from start to finish, like literally. It's like a short compilation. Is that how you say it? Of the movie.
they're just showing the plot.
It literally shows you the like little bits.
It doesn't feel like they're showing anything out of context. It doesn't feel like they're mixing stuff up. Like, let's show something from the end. Let's show something from the beginning. It just feels like in order they're showing you like the entire movie as it plays out. And Blumhouse is like the worst at it.
Yeah, I mean, after I see a trailer nowadays, I'm like, I literally feel like I know everything about the movie. I don't feel like I even need to see it. I'm like mad and frustrated about it. And you could say, well, how how do you know that it showed you everything? Well, I feel like I've literally gone and then seen the movie and be like, yeah, it was literally, for example, a more recent movie was Speak No Evil.
Yeah.
I don't think you saw the trailer, but I watched the trailer.
I avoided it.
And I mean, I've heard other people talk about it too, but it was literally just, it walked me through the whole movie. And so as we're watching the movie, I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's no mystery here. And, even as recent as when we went and saw Companion.
Yeah, there was a big scuttle about that online.
Well, I wasn't even going to talk about Companion actually, but yeah, that was a big thing too. We saw a trailer for, is it called The Monkey?
Oh yeah, The Monkey.
The Monkey. And I know
Perkins' new movie.
This is one that you're looking forward to. And so you don't typically like to watch trailers, but you're kind of forced to when we're in the theater, unless you want to like close your eyes.
I was going to say, that's the thing about it I don't like. It's not even the time. It's just, I don't want to see these damn trailers. I don't want to see them.
So for The Monkey, this is about a toy that is, evil. It's got some kind of evil, spirit or something. And from, we haven't seen the movie yet, but from this trailer, they were literally showing what felt like every single kill that's going to happen in the movie.
Yeah.
They literally like showed it. They showed the kill. Like, they showed at least like 5 kills.
Or they would show that it was getting ready to happen and then they would cut away.
I mean, they like, yeah, I don't know. That to me is just terrible.
Yeah.
Because now when we go see the movie, when it gets to that scene, we're going to know basically how it's going to happen. Yeah. It's taking a lot of mystery out of it. And especially for this type of movie, like that's everything. Like, that's a lot of it.
Yeah, I just feel like movies, we could go back and watch older trailers to make sure. But I feel like the older movie trailers just did a better job of, I guess, like the editors that worked on the trailers, cutting them together. They just did a better job of cutting them together in a way where it didn't feel like you were getting the plot like from A to Z.
Right.
Like you were just getting pieces out of context.
Yeah.
With some voiceover or something. They used to have the voiceover back in the day. It just didn't feel like you were getting the entirety of like what it was.
Yeah.
And now, like for a lot of, not that there still isn't good trailers, there still are good trailers that don't give away anything. But for the most part,
like they're
now,
very few and far between them.
It's just very formulaic and cookie cutter, and it just feels like they're just giving you the entire plot.
And it's like,
and now they'll put out like 5 different trailers for one movie.
That's the other thing.
You got the first trailer, the teaser, the second trailer, the final trailer.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, I almost wish that there was, as far as getting people to want to go see a movie, you've got the poster. That's like usually the first thing, right, that you see.
Yeah.
Before you, like that's the first thing you get to see about a movie. Oh, look at this movie. Okay, cool. So it's like, I almost wish that there was just a poster and then a teaser, and that's it. But it's like, I feel like maybe because of just like the point of time that we're in and everything, you hear all these concerns about movies dying, there's all these cuts, theaters are failing, yada, yada, yada. It's like, maybe it has to do with, they're just like so afraid that they're not going to make their money back, or it's going to be successful, that they feel like they just have to throw all of this in our face so that we're going to want to go see it. But it's like, it's just pissing me off.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess I'm not going to say that it makes me not want to go see it. I'm still getting in there. So I guess it's doing its job. But like, also after I see it, it's just like making me disappointed in my experience because something was given away, or I wished I had not, seen something or whatever. And so anyway, it's just kind of crappy.
Yep. Gets frustrating for sure. I don't know. I got to the point where I'm a little numb to it all. Like, I'll actively try to stay away from trailers, but if I start to hear spoilers about a movie, I still want to see it.
Yeah.
There's certain things where I used to get like really upset back in the day. But just the culture that we're in right now, and the fact that I operate so much like in the movie space on Instagram and YouTube, and
it's pretty much impossible.
I can't stay away from this stuff if I wanted to.
Right.
Even like the smallest like amount of discourse about a movie before it hits like wide theaters between like the critics and stuff, just spoiling whether or not the movie's good or perceived as good by critics is kind of a spoiler in and of itself.
Well,
once you see Rotten Tomatoes score 40% or 85%, it already like puts this like expectation in your mind of like what the movie's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of like good.
And that can mess with your own perception of it.
Right. Just, like if you go off of that, like kind of going off of what you're saying, not just trailers, but like you said, just the time that we live in, having social media, it's just so hard to stay away from any spoilers, any information that you may not want to know. And you can say like, oh, okay, well, just like stay offline. And so like, how
not
that
if
goes.
I operate in it.
Well, even if you're not, and people are just addicted to social media. So
yeah.
That's just how it is.
But there's just some real like assholes online that will just post stuff 2 weeks after, and they'll think it's okay because it's 2 weeks after the movie came out.
Well, also though is, nowadays, which I guess this was probably always a thing, but people get early screenings.
Yeah.
People get early screenings now, and then they're posting about it. And it's like, for the normal moviegoer, they might not get to go. They might not get an early screening, or they might not get to go even the opening weekend, So it's just like,
or they'll try to post like a funny meme about it or something.
Right.
And it's like, well, this isn't completely giving it away because, you got to read between the lines.
Right.
But it's like, well, I know what you're trying to say.
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and that pretty much spoils it. But yeah, the last time I was really pissed off was the Alien Romulus. They like pretty much spoiled like the look of the final like monster thing at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 weeks after it came out. People were bitching in the comments, and then there's other assholes in there like, well, if you wanted to see it, you should have saw it by now.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
It's clearly coming from somebody that just lives in the theaters and has nothing else to worry about in life and can just get there day one all the time.
Yeah.
It
is annoying for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Is that you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
All right, you made it through.
Trailers suck, people suck, the theaters still kind of suck.
Quit hitting the table.
I think that's the general.
It's gonna mess the mic up.
The general theme.
Yeah, you know, we hate to be a negative channel, but we're just talking. We're just talking about, you know, pros and cons and just how it is to be a movie consumer. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for episode 3. Be sure to, you know, leave us any of your thoughts on these topics. I feel like they all kind of, you know, go together for sure. And you know, I'm happy you made it through the episode without coughing out your right lung.
Barely. I'll cough a lot when this is over with.
Yeah. So yeah, we will talk to you guys later.